All right, Lee Zeldin got his hands on the EPA and he is rolling back a huge number of their extreme regulations, and it's pretty awesome. He self-described it as the largest deregulation effort in U.S. history. He is slashing 65% of their spending, and I think he's just getting started. So there's 31 main things that he just rolled out, and they're off to the races. And this is interesting. At the same time, I'm hearing reports on the back channels of automotive shops and part sellers still getting hit by the EPA. So this is still a problem that needs rectified. Maybe not everybody sees it as a problem, but I see it as a problem. I'm going to try to go through this list quick, and I'll hit on the car stuff towards the end, and I'll try to keep my bias out of this. So some of the things that he's planning on hitting: revising power plant emissions rules, rolling back some of the strictness on, restrictions on coal and gas plants and how they do things, and hopefully make that energy cheaper. Changing water protection laws. So he's rolling back rules on which waterways the EPA can regulate. So the EPA regulates a ton of waterways, and they're trying to roll that back so that farmers and landowners have more control over the water on their property. Challenging the endangerment findings. So the endangerment findings was basically a list of, scientific rules and studies that they used to decide which greenhouse gases were dangerous, how much of it was dangerous, what public health threats they were, and they then used that to attack anything that was putting out what they deemed as a dangerous greenhouse gas, which there's a large list of them. And then ending current EPA programs, so ending things like environmental justice and diversity initiatives, so DEI kind of stuff. The EPA should focus on science, not social issues, is what they are saying. So hopefully this will, cut some spending there. I mean, if they're spending any money on that, then they're clearly in the wrong. Again, my bias is they shouldn't have any money to spend anyways, but the hope is that he will deregulate some of these things to help stimulate business, help stimulate the economy, bring energy costs down, which will in turn hopefully bring manufacturing up and bring jobs and bring U.S. manufacturing back. Automotive industry needs it with, tariffs on Mexico and China and Canada, so we really could use some stimulant on that side of things. But let's talk a little bit more about the cars. So he's planning to roll back vehicle emission standards. Right now there is a very high level of U.S. vehicle emission standards, and he is hoping to roll that back and put more of it back into the hands of the auto industry and let them decide based more on what customers want, not what the government wants them to build. That's the hope, at least. And even things like electric vehicle mandates and the numbers that they have to sell. He's planning to roll a lot of that back, if not already in place. Take away some of those mandates and the numbers that they have to make, and all of that good BS. And then, the endangerment findings still heavily hit this because CO2, greenhouse gas, is one of the main ones that they hit. So if they are changing how they see the endangerment findings of 2009, then they will be able to change how they look at the auto industry in a whole. So cars like your V8 supercharged deal that's burning a ton of gas and your rotary that's maybe burning a ton of oil, they might look at those a little differently and change how they see what this happens. So he's weakening the rules on that, less pressure on the automotive industry, and then hopefully that in turn is less pressure on the aftermarket auto industry, which is the smallest of the small segment. It is a small percentage of the car industry. Less EV rollout, like always, that's a big one. And hopefully it ends up working out for the best for the consumer, for the best for the people that are actually spending the money on these things. If these waterways can help farmers, if the energy costs come down, his goal is to get cheaper vehicles, cheaper energy, and just cheaper all around. More abundant of these resources, if you will. So more gas, all that good stuff. So what do you guys think? Is this crazy? Should the EPA be getting less restrictive or more restrictive? Are we just on the cusp of the electric vehicle being perfect and completed and, being able to be in everybody's driveway? Or is it still not there yet and people should be able to buy what they want? It's the endless debate. But I think that this stuff is obviously for the best if it helps the economy, if it helps the people, if it helps the consumer, and if it helps just the overall sentiment of, people making money and saving money on their power bill or their water bill or things like that, then I think these are a huge step forward. And I hope that this turns out to be the best. The endangerment findings is probably the biggest one. That's the one that's going to be used the most on like the aftermarket side of things. People are already citing that as, this is bullshit. A lot of people have been saying for the last 5 to 10 years that these findings the numbers were fudged and they need to be revisited. So hopefully they revisit them and we see some real change happen. But I'm optimistic. Lee Zeldin, he was my local representative when I lived in Suffolk County, so it's pretty interesting to see him now ripping the EPA in half, more than half. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe. If there's any other videos I should watch based on this topic, please link them down below, and I will happily dig deeper into this because, as you guys could tell, this is a difficult topic to cover. There is so much nuance and so many different point of views and so much conflicting information that it's hard to really know exactly what's going on, and I think that's all by design. So hopefully rolling this stuff back will change some of the status quo currently that we're dealing with, and hopefully some people that I know won't be attacked by the EPA like they have been in the past, because I think most people can agree that a small business just, trying to make cars work better for their consumer, getting fined hundreds of thousands of dollars is insane and a huge overstep. And then, there's all this stuff with CARB that I didn't even want to get into, but there's a whole nother side and rabbit hole to that, but we'll leave that for another day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it saucy. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.